In continuing our question and answer session tonight, we have some strong questions from some young people and from some not so young people about the events that took place in Greece and also Syria in the last week to 10 days, actually last weekend. And one of the questions was, why did the Greek monks ask God to prevent the Pope from coming to Greece? And can we forget our differences and embrace each other and make up? Was another question. And another comment and a question was, wasn't that a great success that the Pope apologized about the Fourth Crusade? And isn't that a sign of progress? And another question was, what are some of the main differences that divide us for all these years? And once again, wouldn't it be better to just forget some of our differences and unite? That way we can all be one church. And this kind of reminds us the myth, not the myth of Aesop, or the fable of Aesop, about a great lion, the Lion King, who was getting very, very old. And somehow he wanted to have everybody come to him instead of him going out to search for his prey. So he had his advertisers go out there and proclaim to everyone that I got news for you. The lion will no longer hurt anybody. He wants all the animals to come to his palace, to his place, so we can talk about peace and understanding. We want to have peace. So a lot of the animals began to go into the cave. And the fox was standing outside of the cave. And the lion came out at some point and said, "Dear fox, why aren't you coming in?" And the fox says, "Your Highness, I see many animals coming in, but I don't see any coming out." So this kind of reminds us the attitude of the papacy. And again, please try to understand, as we're speaking tonight, we are not throwing stones at any of the Catholic people. Millions of Catholics who are very well-meaning. They are faithful. They believe in the gospel. We're going to talk about the papacy, this system, this philosophical system that has destroyed the church and the unity of the church over the years. And the 2 million Orthodox in Poland are no longer, because they first became Uniates. They were forced. 2 million Orthodox in Poland. This is the plan. Become Latins. Become under the Pope. Stay under the Pope. We will not touch anything. You can stay Orthodox. That happens the first century, or at least part of that century. The second century, there's so much pressure on these people that they all Latinize. These 2 million Orthodox in the country of Poland are no longer. They all have Latinized. After the fall of Constantinople, hundreds of thousands of Greeks, Greek Orthodox, left and went to Italy. Hundreds of thousands, and some of the brightest pages of monasticism started in southern Italy, called Calabria. We have some great saints there. I was reading a book over my Christmas trip to Greece about a Saint Nile the Galavros, a tremendous saint of our church, tremendous saint. All these hundreds of monasteries, one by one, were forced to Latinize, and today we have very, very few Orthodox in Italy. Millions of Orthodox have been pressured to change their faith in Ukraine, Georgia, and all these countries, where up to this point, to this day, this past summer in Baltimore, the Orthodox and Catholic dialogue broke up abruptly over this issue. The Pope, the Vatican does not want to back off to rebaptize Orthodox and get them to be Catholics. If you're burning from missionary zeal, why don't you go to Africa, go to countries that are not Christian? Why are you putting so much pressure on the Orthodox? And this reminds us of his children, the Protestants. For so many years, they stayed outside of Russia. And the minute communism fell, thousands of them went in there to teach the Orthodox about Christianity. Once again, we want to remind everyone that our grievance is not with any of our Catholic neighbors, people, once again, that know very, very little about these matters, because the church hides it. The Catholic Church, quote unquote, hides this information from them. It's amazing how during the false union of Ferrara and Florence, 1438, in the beginning of the synod, the Pope and 20 metropolitans, Mark of Ephesus, St. Mark, when St. Mark was addressing the Pope, the Catholic monks were in disbelief. We didn't know this. We didn't know that. We were not taught this. The Greeks are right. The Orthodox are right. And after that, the Pope said, no, these meetings are no longer going to be public. So the question is, do we really have such substantial differences? Or is it just political? Is it ego here? We are Constantinople and Byzantium, and they are the West, we are the East. Are there any profound, substantial, biblical differences that keep us from bridging this gap that has been unbridged for the last close to 1,000 years, from 1054? Some of our lukewarm Orthodox, who basically believe that Christianity is all about sympathy and understanding. Their feeling of Christianity reminds us of the the New Age song, "The Day of Aquarius." Sympathy and understanding. If you ever heard that song, this New Age is coming, and then we're all going to fall in love. And when we look at Christianity like this without any kind of depth, then it is very, very normal to just want to have peace and sympathy and forget our doctrines, because doctrines and beliefs, they divide. But unfortunately, that's not what Christianity is all about. Christ says, I did not come to bring peace in this world, but sword. Meaning that I'm not here to divide you. You will be divided because you will not accept my teachings. My teachings will go against your passionate nature. The heavenly teachings will go against your wishes to live very, very well here on earth. And this is why we have, this division. So we do have a great deal of substantial differences And we need everyone to pay attention because these differences are not taught in your Sunday school rooms. Your Sunday school texts, they show the popes and our patriarchs embracing and peace and love because of the 60s and the 70s. And we will talk about these things tonight. The first and most substantial difference that we have, and we'll never compromise on this, and the most huge scandal, the rock of scandal, η πέτρα του σκανδάλου, is the papal primacy, το πρωτίον, the papal primacy. Now, what is this primacy? In the church, we had primacy of honor, and we also have primacy of authority. These are two different primacies. Primacy of honor was given initially to the Bishop of Rome. We had the Patriarch of Rome, Constantinople, Jerusalem, Antioch, and Alexandria, the five historical patriarchates. And because initially Rome was the center of the Roman Empire, the Bishop of Rome, while in a synod, in a meeting, somebody was given a first seat, and it was Rome. Second place was Constantinople. Third place, Antioch, Alexandria, and last, Jerusalem. Again, these are simply honorary positions. Just like, let's say, Stanley, in your firm, you may have 5, 6, 7 attorneys. You have a meeting. The one who may be the oldest and the one who probably has been may sit, out of politeness, you will offer your seat to the older person, to the one who somehow has, accomplished some great things. But while voting, everybody issues one vote. One vote. The same thing in the Synod of Greece. We have Archbishop Christodoulos. He may have the synod of 20, 30, 50, 70 bishops. When they're voting, even though he's the first of Greece, first among equals, his vote counts 1 and not 5 or 10, and does not outdo the vote of all the other bishops. So we have primacy of honor. It's an honorary title. Just like we have archbishops, we have metropolitans, we have patriarchs. These are all bishops. And in a synod, they can only cast one vote, and that's it. So once again, Rome was the first in honor. Constantinople, Alexandria, Antioch, and then Jerusalem. However, the popes of Rome were not satisfied with this honorary position. Very early on, they began to demand a position of authority. We have Saint Basil the Great, even in the 4th century. He's writing to Athanasios, and he's writing about the raised eyebrow of the Latin patriarchs. He talks about this attitude of the Latins and their intentions to subdue the church. This tendency began very early on. Epirmeni of Phris, this father tells us. So the popes slowly manipulated the scriptures to raise themselves above all bishops, above all saints, above all the synods, and above the church. In the person of Pope, today, in the Latin theology, in the person of Pope, the entire church stands. God forbid, if the Vatican would be swallowed by the earth tomorrow, we would have no church, according to the theology of the papacy. And not